Rembrandt Harmensoen van Rijn, a name that resonates through the corridors of art history, stands as a titan of the Dutch Golden Age. He was not merely a painter, but a storyteller, a psychologist, and a revolutionary master of light and shadow. Born in Leiden in 1606, his journey from a miller's son to an artistic legend is a tale of prodigious talent, soaring ambition, and profound personal tragedy. Rembrandt's early life was steeped in the burgeoning prosperity of the Netherlands, a nation celebrating its newfound independence and commercial success. This environment of cultural efflorescence provided the fertile ground upon which his genius would blossom. He initially enrolled at the University of Leiden, a path of academic respectability that he quickly abandoned for the irresistible allure of the artist's studio. Lastman's influence is evident in Rembrandt's early works, characterized by their dramatic gestures, rich colors, and complex compositions. However, Rembrandt was never a mere imitator. He absorbed, synthesized, and ultimately transcended the styles of his predecessors. His move to Amsterdam in the 1630s marked a pivotal moment in his career, as he quickly established himself as the city's most sought-after portrait painter. The city's elite, from wealthy merchants to powerful guilds, clamored to have their likenesses immortalized by his brush. His marriage to the beautiful and affluent Saskia van Eilenberg brought him not only love and companionship, but also a secure social standing. This period of domestic bliss and professional success was, however, tragically short-lived. The successive deaths of 3 of their children in infancy, followed by Saskia's own premature death in 1642, plunged Rembrandt into a deep and enduring grief. This personal anguish profoundly reshaped his art, leading him away from the polished surfaces of his early success towards a deeper, more introspective exploration of the human condition. It is in this later period that Rembrandt truly becomes the master of light and shadow, using it not merely as a compositional device, but as a vehicle for profound emotional and psychological expression. Consider his masterpiece, The Night Watch, a painting that shattered the conventions of group portraiture. Instead of a static, formal arrangement, Rembrandt presents a dynamic, chaotic scene, a snapshot of a militia company preparing for action. The light in The Night Watch is not uniform. It is a character in itself, picking out key figures from the gloom, creating a sense of movement and urgency. Rembrandt's religious paintings also demonstrate his unparalleled mastery of light. In The Storm on the Sea of Galilee, his only known seascape, the tempestuous sea and sky are a battleground of light and shadow, mirroring the disciples' terror and Christ's serene authority. The light catches the crest of a wave, the terror in the disciples' eyes, the splintering wood of the Mass, creating a scene of breathtaking drama. His etchings, too, are a testament to his genius in manipulating light and shadow, often with just a few deft lines. The sick and the poor, who flock to Jesus, are bathed in a gentle, compassionate light, while the skeptical Pharisees lurk in the shadows. This is not just technical skill, it is moral and psychological insight rendered in visual form. Rembrandt's self-portraits are perhaps his most intimate and revealing works, a visual autobiography spanning his entire career. In his youth, he depicted himself with a confident, almost arrogant air, his face dramatically lit, a rising star, aware of his own brilliance. As he aged, the bravado gave way to a raw, unflinching honesty. His late self-portraits are masterpieces of introspection, the light no longer a tool of flattery, but of truth. The light seems to emanate from within, a flickering candle of resilience in the face of hardship. He paints the texture of his aging skin, the weariness in his eyes, the weight of a life lived with both great triumph and crushing loss. His extravagant lifestyle, his passion for collecting art and curiosities, and a downturn in the art market led him to declare bankruptcy in 1656. He was forced to sell his grand house and his extensive art collection, a humiliating blow for the once celebrated master. Yet, Even in the face of this adversity, his artistic output remained astonishingly powerful and innovative. Some of his most profound and moving works, such as The Jewish Bride and The Return of the Prodigal Son, were created during this period of hardship. The Return of the Prodigal Son is a masterclass in silent storytelling, a symphony of light, shadow, and human emotion. The father's hands, one masculine and strong, the other gentle and feminine, rest on the back of his kneeling son, a perfect embodiment of unconditional love. The light in the painting is a spiritual light, a light of grace and redemption that envelops the central figures and pushes the onlookers into the shadows of judgment and contemplation. Rembrandt's technique was as revolutionary as his vision. He used a thick impasto, applying paint in heavy layers to create a tangible, three-dimensional texture bias. This technique was particularly effective in rendering the richness of fabrics, the glint of gold embroidery, or the wrinkled skin of an old man. He would often scratch into the wet paint with the end of his brush, a technique called sgraffito, to create fine details like hair or the sparkle of a jewel. His palette, especially in his later years, was often limited and subdued, dominated by earthy tones, deep reds, and golden ochres. Yet, from this seemingly restricted range of colors, he could conjure a world of emotional depth and visual richness. Light in his paintings is not just a visual phenomenon, it is a spiritual and psychological one. It can be the harsh, interrogating light of truth, the gentle, forgiving light of grace, or the mysterious, flickering light of the human spirit. Rembrandt's influence on the course of art history is immeasurable. Artists from Goya to Van Gogh and countless others have studied his work, drawn inspiration from his techniques, and marveled at his profound humanity. Even in the modern era of photography and filmmaking, the principles of Rembrandt lighting, a single dominant light source, and a reflector to illuminate the shadows, remain a fundamental tool for creating mood and drama. Rembrandt died in 1669, in relative poverty and obscurity, his revolutionary style having fallen out of fashion in favor of a more classical, elegant aesthetic. It would take centuries for his genius to be fully appreciated again, for the world to catch up with his radical vision. Today, his paintings are among the most treasured possessions of the world's greatest museums, drawing millions of visitors who come to stand in silent communion with his work. To look at a Rembrandt is to look into the heart of what it means to be human. His legacy is not just in the canvases he left behind, but in the enduring power of his vision, his unflinching honesty, and his profound understanding of the human soul. He remains, and will forever remain, the undisputed master of light and shadow.